Hey everybody, welcome back to JT Channel and welcome to my Backlash predictions. I decided to wait until after Monday Night Raw just in case, and it turns out I was right because they did make one more match for the weekend. Right now there are 5 matches. I do not see them adding anything else. 5 matches has kind of been their MO over the last year or two when it comes to, maybe the last 3 years, when it comes to their B pay-per-views, their smaller events. So again, I don't see them adding another match to the card. Plus, some of the rumored matches have been put like next week or put off entirely, stuff like that. But as always, this is just my personal picks and then who I think is going to win. I do not have the notebook today because I think I can remember 5 matches. If not, well, you'll know because I'm going to go write it down. But first things first, I think the first match I need to talk about is Gunther versus Pat McAfee because this one is harder for me than it should be. I know people don't like Pat McAfee. That's fine. You don't have to like Pat McAfee. I do. I didn't know who he was before he joined the WWE. I don't watch actual sports. Wrestling's an actual sport. Shut up. But I didn't know who he was, and then he joined, and I enjoy his energy on commentary. He brings a fan energy with him, which I think is good. Him and Michael Cole are great together. He's helped get some respect on Michael Cole's name, which has been nice. And part of me wants to root for Pat McAfee just because I always want to root for baby faces, right? For fun, good guys. But let's be honest here. My pick and my prediction is Gunther. Now, I don't have any issues with Pat McAfee winning this match, but I do think it would hurt Gunther more than it would help him. I see some people saying it should essentially be a squash match. Okay, I suppose if you got to save some time somewhere, because there is a fatal 4-way match for the Intercontinental Championship, or the United States Championship, excuse me. And that's got to get some time, and the main event's going to have to get some time. So, you know, you have to save time somewhere. You got to have 5 matches on the card. Gunther, Pat McAfee, maybe Pat starts off hot, and then Gunther just absolutely kills him for 3 minutes. So, I love Pat McAfee, and I'm not saying I want to see him get murdered, but at the same time, I do think this is going to go for Gunther. I'll be more or less rooting for Gunther. Like I said, I'm a classic wrestling mark, so I'll probably be excited when Pat does anything, but I do think this is the best way to go because you want to reestablish Gunther after he lost to Jey Uso, after he tapped out to Jey Uso. And it's not going to hurt Pat McAfee. Well, you know what I mean. It's not going to hurt his character if he loses. He'll probably go away for a while. Maybe this is him going away to host that college morning show. I don't know. Again, I actually really like this story. I liked the idea of a wrestler coming to the commentators and being like, hey, quit talking shit about me or else. And then, you know, having Gunther attack Michael Cole and all this. Now, the rumor, I wouldn't even say it's a rumor. What fans are saying is that maybe, just maybe, this will lead to Gunther versus Goldberg in the future, because Goldberg has stated he wants his last match in 2025. So everyone's saying it should be against Gunther, and Gunther should probably win, and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, maybe somehow this leads to Goldberg's return. And I'm not sure how you do that, but it is what it is. I think I've repeated myself and rambled on enough. My pick, my prediction, Gunther, it just makes sense. And I wouldn't be surprised or against the idea of the match being a squash. Match that got announced on Raw last night. We are getting Penta versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. This one's hard. This one's also hard. This one's hard for a different reason. The Pat McAfee match, I just like Pat. Watching him get beat up is going to be weird. But, sorry, I got like cat hair on my nose or something. Anyway. Okay, solved. So it's hard for me because I like both of them a lot. Penta has been one of my favorite wrestlers for a very long time, as I have mentioned in past videos. And Dominic, he's been getting better and better every single week for like 2 years now. And how over he got at WrestleMania has kind of stuck, and I enjoy that. I enjoy the fact that for once a wrestler got over around WrestleMania or at WrestleMania, and then we moved on and he's still over. My pick is always going to be Penta. I think I said the same thing for the WrestleMania match. I picked Penta and I predicted Braun. completely wrong both ends. I think when it comes to predicting, I think I'm going to predict Dominic Mysterio. I don't think you take the title off him just yet if you're WWE, especially since he's gotten over, and most of the Judgment Day are pretty much baby faces at this point, at least as far as the crowd is concerned. They love JD, they love Liv and Raquel, they love Carlito, they love Dom, and Finn has always been beloved. So I think Dominic will retain, probably with some shenanigans. Or, I said my pick is Penta. You could always have Finn overdo the shenanigans and Dominic loses the title. Now, that's kind of sucks, especially at like an event like Backlash. Not there's anything wrong with Backlash. WWE has really made B pay-per-views more important in the last couple of years. So, I just, as a Penta fan, it'd be awesome to see him with the Intercontinental Championship. And he won with the Destroyer last night, so he could hit that on Saturday and he could definitely win. But I do think Judgment Day, Finn's still part of it. There's going to be lots of shenanigans. I think Dominic retains. It'll be really good. It'll be really good to see just Dominic and Penta one-on-one. If you give them significant time, I think they're going to tear it up in the ring. So my pick is Penta, and my prediction is Dirty Dom retains. Speaking of championships, I think Gunther and Pat McAfee is the only match that's not a title match. We're going to get to the United States title match now, which is a fatal four-way. Jacob Fatu defends against Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and L.A. Knight. Okay, I'll do it. Yeah. So, this one... Again, I'm having a rough time with these matches. I'll tell you what. My pick is Jacob Fatu, and my prediction is Jacob Fatu. I love Jacob, and I don't think, just like Dominic, I don't think you take the title off him right after WrestleMania just yet. However, with that said, if you wanted to give the title to Drew, I would be fine with it. I'm not saying I don't want you to give it to Damian, but Drew has given everything he has to WWE for the last several years, but especially since, you got to think all the way back to the CM Punk feud that started before CM Punk was even cleared to wrestle. And then Drew got injured, and they were still feuding. They were feuding for so long, and then Drew got out of that feud, and he, jumped into the next one, and then he did the stuff with Damian Priest. He's just been so good that it would be nice for him to win a championship. And I know people probably see Drew as more than the U.S. title, above the U.S. title, but I disagree. If anything, giving the United States Championship to Drew McIntyre elevates that belt. It doesn't drag Drew down. It brings the belt up. I'm so sorry. My daughter is all over the place on the floor right now. I'm just letting her be. So sorry if you have a shaky syndrome or something if it bothers your eyes, but I'm not trying, I promise. Anyway, definitely not against Drew winning, but personally, I love Jacob Fatu so much that I really just want him to run through these other three guys. I want him to take some sort of multiple finish thing where maybe he gets Claymored, but he pops back up and then gets hit with the BFT, and then Drew picks him up, or Damian picks him up, hits him with the Razor's Edge, and then 2 minutes later he's back to his feet and he just kills all of them. So my pick and my prediction is Jacob Fatu. Again, prediction wise, I just don't think WWE's ready to take the title off him. He's too over, he's too good. You'd have to have a damn good reason to take him off. A Fatal 4-Way does kind of give him an out because Drew could pin Damian, which is why I said, if you want to give the title to Drew McIntyre, you won't hear any arguments from me, but I just don't think you do it. I think Jacob has to win and overcome all these odds. He'll probably pin LA Knight again. But again, something I wouldn't mind is if he pinned someone like Drew McIntyre or Damian Priest, former world champions. It'll look good on him. It'll look good. Pick and prediction, Jacob Fatu. Next up is a match that I thought the other matches were difficult. This one. So it's Lyra Valkyria defending the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Becky Lynch. I will try not to ramble on forever about this, but I do have some thoughts, some feelings about this. And I normally don't talk about the future when it comes to this. I'm just predicting the card this weekend, and you'll get my reaction the next day or as soon as possible. My pick is Becky Lynch because my pick is always Becky Lynch. My prediction is up in the air right now. I did that at WrestleMania. I had a few matches where I was like, man, I don't know who WWE would give this to. Now, Lyra Valkyria took out Becky Lynch last night with the Nightwing, I think is what it's called, which classic wrestling tropes will tell you, whoever gets the upper hand on the go-home show, loses at the pay-per-view. Now, that does not always happen. It doesn't. Unless I'm mistaken, the go-home show for WrestleMania, the Monday Night Raw before Mania, I think Seth Rollins got the better of Punk and Roman, and then he went on to win at WrestleMania. So that's not always the case. It's just, like I said, it's a classic wrestling trope. So I could say I predict Becky Lynch based on that. So let's just say that. Let's say based on the classic wrestling trope of whoever has the upper hand last loses. Which means we're going to have a new Intercontinental Champion, which I am fine with. I love Becky Lynch. Problem is, I love Lyra Valkyria too. They had a really great face-to-face. They've had a great friendship. They had a great feud a while back. I think Becky won the NXT Women's Championship, and Lyra's the one that took it from her. So this is like, oh, can Becky beat Lyra this time? That's that kind of thing. It's going to be a really good match, and the reason it's so hard for me to decide what to do is for this matchup specifically, you have to look to the future. You have to look forward to what's next. Because if Becky wins the Intercontinental Championship, then obviously that's Becky Lynch. It's someone that many people, me included, consider a GOAT, one of the greatest women wrestlers ever. I'm sure there's some people out there that think she's the best ever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying she's in the conversation for sure. And if she's holding the Intercontinental title, that elevates that belt, and maybe she can have some good feuds on Raw as well. But we have to talk about Bayley. Bayley's going to come back. She's going to feud with Becky Lynch. Does Bayley versus Becky Lynch need a championship? No. I'm not asking you. That's a rhetorical question because the answer is no. It's Bayley and Becky Lynch. They're both stars right now. They're both way, 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 way up here. So you put them in a one-on-one match. SummerSlam's 2 nights. I'm going to say it. You could make that the main event, and it wouldn't even need a belt. Bayley versus Becky Lynch, main event, night 1 of SummerSlam. No one would blink. Everyone would tune in. It's not that big of a deal. It's just, if Becky wins the Intercontinental Championship, does she carry it to SummerSlam and defend it against Bayley? Or, between now and then, there's like a Saturday night's main event, and that Money in the Bank, I think, is in between. That AAA show is, but that's NXT, I think. Point is, there's times where maybe Lyra wins it back, maybe Bayley helps out, and maybe that's how we get to that match. Because of my biases, I'm going to root for Becky Lynch, but this isn't one of those matches where, oh no, I don't want Lyra to win. If Lyra wins, then we have the question of how does she win? Does she beat Becky fair and square, and then does she become one of those crybaby heels? That's like, I can't believe I lost, I deserve another match, blah, 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 blah. Or does Bayley come back at the weekend and we have like a trilogy of matches between them at like Saturday night's main event, Money in the Bank, and then maybe the third match takes place at SummerSlam. I don't know. This is just me rambling because this match I feel like needs the attention more than any other match on the card because we know we're going to get Becky versus Bayley down the line because we have to. And I would not be surprised whether it's 1 match or 3 that we get it at SummerSlam. But that doesn't make any sense. Point is, my pick and my prediction is Becky Lynch. I do think Becky is going to walk out as the new Intercontinental Champion. And if she does, I hope that WWE uses her to skyrocket that championship. Don't keep doing what you're doing with Lyra. The Women's U.S. title had a lot better attention on it for a while. It's kind of dwindled now. Don't just let Becky take random title matches week after week. Put her in a feud. Continue the feud with Lyra. Bring Bayley back. Whatever you got to do. This one is pretty easy to predict, I would say. And that is the main event, which is John Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. We all know John Cena is going to retain. Pick-wise, I love John Cena. So, it's one of those things where I'm going to feel dumb if I pick Randy Orton. You know what I mean? Like, the prediction is too obvious. We're not going to take the WWE title off of John Cena less than a month after WrestleMania at a B pay-per-view called Backlash just because it's in Randy Orton's hometown. It's just not going to happen. People that are complaining about this match don't deserve pro wrestling. That's just what I'm just going to say it like that. They've wrestled. I know their feud back in the day went on too long. But who cares? That's what they're playing on. They know how good their feud was. And did you want to wait? Who else was John going to jump to immediately? Exactly. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. Randy Orton is the perfect first challenger. He'll hit some really cool RKOs. Maybe we'll get that spot where John Cena goes for the AA and Orton catches him on the way down. But he's not going to win the title. Personally, I would pick Randy Orton. He is my modern day GOAT by miles and miles and miles. He's one of my favorite wrestlers ever. I think he could get in the ring with literally anyone in the world, not just WWE. You could put Randy Orton in the ring with anyone, and he could have a good match with them because he would learn their style, how to deal with them, stuff like that. I'm not saying he would do their style. You're not going to see Randy Orton do a dive anytime soon, but this will be good. It'll have a lot of time, which is why I said what I said about Gunther and Pat McAfee. That probably needs to be only a couple of minutes and mostly a squash, because you're going to want to give a bunch of time to John Cena and Randy Orton, because they're probably not going to wrestle again. If I were WWE, if I were John Cena, I would want to play the greatest hits for the rest of the year. You wanted to face Randy Orton, you do it once. And maybe you do John Cena and like Drew McIntyre, but you do it once. You do John Cena and Rusev, just popped in my head, but you don't want Rusev to lose. Point is, one time. You don't want John Cena to face the same person too many times, because then it's going to feel like, okay, what are we doing? I don't know who John Cena faces at SummerSlam. I don't think this match needs to be talked about that far out. My pick is Randy Orton, just because it's a little bit of chaos in there. I would love to see it happen. Like I said, it's not going to, but how crazy would the wrestling world be if John Cena already loses the World Championship, like I said, less than a month after he won it, to Randy Orton at a B pay-per-view? It would be nuts. Orton's obviously going to get the biggest pop of the night, hometown, whatever. But I do predict John Cena. I predict John Cena's going to hold that title at least until SummerSlam. I would not be surprised if he holds it all the way to the end of the year, until we get to the John Cena farewell, bye-bye, we all love you show, and then he drops it back to Cody Rhodes, probably. So there you have it. That is my rant and my picks and predictions. I know I rambled on about a few things, but Backlash is going to be really good. Like I said, WWE's B pay-per-views, that's what they're called, have been really, really good the last couple of years. This one looks like it's going to be no different. Saturday night's main event takes place on my birthday. I am trying to see if I can come up with something cool to do for that. I would love to live stream it. But I tried to live stream SummerSlam, I think, last year. And the video is in my private. I only was able to do it for like 40 minutes. I had like one person tune in off and on. I think the max I had at one time was 4. And I have to use my phone, so having it recording for that long is not easy. Now, Saturday night's main event is a televised show. It's like on NBC or something. It's not on a streaming, well, it's on Peacock, but you know what I mean. It's not an streaming service exclusive. So that'll be a lot more succinct. It'll be like probably 2 hours on the dot, and they'll probably have a hard out. It's like, hey, you guys can't go like more than 5 minutes past the hour. So we'll see. I want to do something cool on my birthday on the channel every year. I think last year I just screwed around and played Doom or something. I don't even remember. But thank you everybody so much for watching. I will let you know what I'm going to do about Saturday night's main event. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below about your predictions. I think, again, Backlash is going to be very, very fun. And yeah, I'll let you decide if you think these are good or bad picks and predictions. I know some of my picks are really, really biased, like Randy Orton, Penta, Becky. Just wrestlers I love. I'm always going to pick them no matter what. But until next time, don't forget to head to wenergy.gg and enter JT channel in all caps, all one word, to get 10% off a jitterless and sugar-free energy drink. And until next time, I said that already, this is JT channel. I am JT, and I will see you in the next one.